Hello FPL managers and welcome to our Game Week 2 preview where we'll talk about clean sheets, budget players, differentials, captain picks and more. But let's start by taking a look at our league's table. Our current league leader is Dato from Georgia, who picked up an astounding 134 points after captaining Salah and owning Pogba, Antonio, Richarlison and Pereira. Don't forget to join our league if you haven't yet. Now let's have a look at top performing players in our top 5 segment. Tierney from Arsenal recorded the most chances, he created 6, followed by Pogba 5, and we know 4 of those ended up as assists. Vardy and Traore made the most shots in this game week. Not far behind we find Salah, Dennis and Calvert-Lewin with 5 shots. For shots in the box we've got Vardy, Dennis and Calvert-Lewin at the top with 5 shots. Vardy, Fernandes and Dennis recorded 3 shots on target, followed by Dominic and Salah with 2. For expected assists, we find Salah at the top with 0.88, orderly followed by Richarlison, Townsend, Westwood and Pogba. Lastly, expected goals, Antonio enjoyed 1.47 xg, 4 ahead of Tarkowski, surprisingly in second place with 0.94, followed jointly by Traore, Wilson and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Concerning clean sheets odds, Liverpool vs Burnley home, Man City vs Norwich home, and Brighton vs Watford home are the 3 teams with the highest chances of keeping a clean sheet in Game Week 2. Make sure you start with defenders from these teams. Players vs team stats. Bruno Fernandes has 2 goals and 3 assists in 3 matches against Southampton. Liverpool striker Diogo Jota is yet to score vs Burnley in 4 attempts. His teammate Mane scored 4 goals in 9 appearances against them. Salah's only goal against the Clares game in 2017. He failed to find the net in the following 6 meetings. Now let's talk about the most transferred in versus most transferred out players. Pogba, he got the vast majority of transfers in this week and he already had his first price rise. He was a standout this week with 4 assists, and if he keeps up that kind of form, he's a great pick as a mid-price option. It does remind me however of the 2019-2020 season when Pogba was a star in Manchester United's opening game, picking up 2 class assists before going on to get only 1 more that season. Though to be fair, he did suffer from injuries. Also worth noting that Manchester United have a lot of attacking assets that are yet to make a return, namely Cavani, Rashford and Sancho, who together may push Pogba back down the pitch. Greenwood also offers great value for a similar price in midfield with a much greater goal threat. Fernandes, an absolute must-have, that simple really. He hushed his critics by scoring 3 goals, none of which were penalties. He'll be a nailed-on starter and he's well worth the premium price. Richarlison, a decent option and clearly in good form after the Olympics. Everton have some appetizing fixtures ahead, including Leeds, Brighton and Norwich in the next 5 games. However, he'll naturally be sharing goals with Calvert-Lewin. There are some other strong forwards at a similar price, such as Antonio and Wilson. Tsimikas, great value at 4 mil, starting Liverpool defender with Burnley upcoming. He had 1 shot and 12 attempted crosses against Norwich, as well as a share of corners. He'll of course be dropped when Robertson returns, but he still has some good few weeks of playtime in him. Lukaku, Chelsea's new main man for goals. With the Kane situation a bit all over the place, Lukaku is the new hot premium forward. However, Chelsea have some tough fixtures up until Game Week 7, so it might be better to hold off until then, though he could still pick up a couple goal contributions. Transfer outs. Kane. He wasn't on team sheets against City. With so much uncertainty surrounding his future at Spurs, it seems silly to waste so much money on Kane. With so many other options performing this week, it's a no for Harry. Cavani. He wasn't expected to play in Game Week 1, so it was a mistake to buy him in first place. However, Cavani will return to training on Tuesday, so he'll likely be ready for Game Week 2. If you still have him, hold on to him. Saka. He also wasn't expected to start Game Week 1 and should be in the starting 11 starting Game Week 2. Arsenal's fixtures become a whole lot better after Game Week 3, and Saka is cheap enough that you can bench him without a worry. Iheanacho didn't start for Leicester against Wolves. I wouldn't hold on to him until we figure out a confirmed Leicester starting 11, especially considering there are options for the same price such as Wilson and Antonio. White. While Arsenal's defensive performance wasn't convincing, White is only 4.5, so he's cheap enough to bench until Arsenal have that better run of fixtures. Now let's see what tips our FPL expert Bakar has for Game Week 2.
Hi everyone, this is Big Man Bakar here. This video is made for FPL updates and tips. This video is directed towards all those managers who are torn between Pogba and Greenwood as their third United asset. In my opinion, I prefer Greenwood as he's playing up front. Pogba, I know he registered 4 assists this weekend, but his stats suggest that he massively overperformed. In the chances created stat, he created 5 chances in the game with an XA of 0.49, which suggests that he should have had 1 or 2 assists at best. But in the actual match, he accumulated 4 assists, which tells me that he overperformed. Greenwood, meanwhile, is playing up front. I think he's clinical when he plays in that position, and such is his precision and shot power that whenever he gets half a chance, he's likely to score. So in my opinion, I would go with Greenwood. He's a more explosive asset to own, and he has a much higher upside than Pogba. Good luck.
Now let's take a look at our Fantasy 5 mini league, where the leader wins £100 in the end of every month. We have 4 managers with 3 correct predictions from Game Week 1. Player time to win predicted Alonso to score over 8.5 points, Salah to score over 12.5 points, and Antonio to score over 6.5 points. You can join our league by clicking the Fantasy 5 link in the description. 4 mil defenders review. We saw 5 defenders at 4 mil starting in Game Week 1. Amarty, Leicester had 2 clean sheets from 2 games, Man City and Wolves, with Amarty as centre back. However, the arrival of Yannick Vestergaard jeopardizes Amarty's possession in the starting 11. The Danish player is experienced enough and is expected to become a starter for the Foxes from Game Week 2. Amarty's chances to keep his possessions are significantly increasing if Leicester play with 5 at the back though. Tsimikas. The Greek played 90 minutes against Norwich and performed really well, despite some mistakes. Tsimikas attempted 12 crosses and even took some corners. Robertson is expected to be out until Game Week 4, so Tsimikas seems a great option for the next few rounds. Duffy. Brighton had some problems with injuries, but Feldman will probably be back for Game Week 2. Despite his great performance, Duffy looks most likely to be dropped from the defenders who played against Burnley. Livramento. Surprisingly, the young defender made his debut in Game Week 1, playing the whole match against Everton. He played as a right back with Jan Valery and Kyle Walker-Peters left on the bench. Obviously, Hasenhuttl trusts Livramento, and he'll be an important player for the Saints. However, I still believe that there will be rotation at the back for Southampton. In addition, their defensive performance doesn't promise many clean sheets, and I prefer to stay away from their defenders. However, the young fullback was preferred instead of Semedo. I suppose that Lage will give a chance to Semedo to prove himself soon. Wolves play against Spurs and Manchester United in the next 2 game weeks, but after that they have easier fixtures. Therefore, I would wait a few more matches to see if Hofer will really be a regular starter. Andrew Omobamidele. He has missed the first few days with tonsillitis. He is expected to be a starter when he is fit. Moving on to team form stats and tips. Stat 1. Man City last 5 home matches versus Norwich. Goals scored 21. Despite frustration among FPL managers after City's loss in the opening weekend at North London, Man City have a favourable home fixture in Game Week 2 when they host Norwich. It is worth highlighting that City's recent record with the Canaries is very encouraging, scoring 21 goals across their last 5 encounters. To be honest, City was unlucky not to score versus stubborn Spurs defense, despite registering 18 shots. Accordingly, they are heavily backed to score big come Saturday against a poor Norwich defense, who conceded most shots 19, most shots in the box 13. So my advice to you is to be patient with your City attackers and hold on to the likes of Jack Grealish and Riyad Mahrez, and save your transfers since we believe a goal feast may be coming for City ahead of Game Week 2. Stat 2. Man United last 6 matches versus Southampton, at least 2 goals scored at 5 games out of 6. Man United made an eye-catching performance in their opening fixture of the season and are now travelling to the South Coast for a match versus Southampton ahead of Game Week 2. United's recent meetings with the Saints have proven to be an appealing fixture and a big source for fantasy points as well, scoring 2 or more goals across 5 of their last 6 head-to-head clashes. As we mentioned, United looked sharp and clinical in front of goal versus Leeds, registering 16 shots, 8 of which on target, and we believe they are going to score 2 or more goals again at St. Mary against a fragile Southampton defense with expected goals conceded 2.25, which bodes well for the most owned player in the game, Bruno Fernandes, who is a strong captain candidate ahead of Game Week 2, while the likes of Paul Pogba and Mason Greenwood could be good differentials to consider. Time for top 3 differentials. Sarr, owned by 4.1% of managers. Sarr took the most shots in Watford last season and finished as their top scorer, 13 goals. Amongst midfielders in Game Week 1, Sarr had shared second most shots on goals, 2, and created second most chances, 4. Without Dini on the pitch, Sarr is also on penalties. Cancelo, owned by 7.4% of managers. Man City conceded the least goals, 32, and claimed the most clean sheets, 19 last season. Amongst the defenders in Game Week 1, Cancelo fired second most shots, 3, and had the highest expected assists, 0.74. Greenwood, owned by 8.5% of managers. Man United scored second most goals last season, 73, and in Game Week 1, Southampton had the second highest expected goals conceded, 2.39. In 5 of their last 6 games versus Southampton, Man United scored 2 or more goals, and with Cavani unlikely to start in Game Week 2, Greenwood is expected to play as a number 9 again. Please pay attention when purchasing Greenwood so you don't end up with the wrong one, like our fellow 14,000 FPL managers. If you wonder where FPL managers get all the expected goals, shots on target, shots in box, and stats, the answer is easy. It's FF Scout website, where you can get all the data you need of players and teams, as well as daily articles from the best managers in the game. Subscribe from the link in the description to get a 20% discount. Now let's talk about our favorite captain picks. Game Week 1 showed us just how critical choosing the right captain is. Well done to those of you that followed one of our top 2 tips in Mo Salah and Bruno Fernandes. As predicted, they were the standout choices in a high-scoring game week. Game Week 2 sees another set of favorable fixtures for FPL big hitters. Mo Salah's Liverpool face Burnley at Anfield. Bruno travels with his Man United team to face Southampton at St. Mary's. Man City are at home to newly promoted Norwich, so the citizens' assets will sure be popular too, if a little more risky. For Mo Salah, the pros are that he's a guaranteed starter, he has the first home game for Liverpool back in front of a packed Anfield crowd, and Burnley looked vulnerable defensively in their opening day loss at home to Brighton. His cons include the fact that he's possibly not on penalties if James Milner is in the team. Burnley are unbeaten in their last 2 league games at Anfield, having drawn 1-1 2 seasons ago and winning their most recent visit last season 1-0. Salah has scored only 1 goal and has only 2 assists versus Burnley in their last 7 league meetings. Bruno Fernandes. His pros are that he has a guaranteed place in the starting 11. In 3 matches against Southampton, Bruno has 2 goals and 3 assists. Southampton may be vulnerable at the back after not yet replacing centre-back Yannick Vestergaard. The cons are that he's playing away from home. Saints fans will be roaring at the home side, with it being their first game back in a full stadium. Southampton are unlikely to give Bruno the space in attack that he enjoyed against Leeds. Game Week 2's recommended captain pick is once again Mo Salah. Bruno is clearly a viable and strong alternative choice. For those of you that like to go against the grain, then Riyad Mahrez at home to Norwich could produce a big haul, but will he survive Pep Roulette and make the starting 11? And might he get taken off early even if he does make the starting 11? Alright, now last but not least, you asked for a team reveal, so here's my team that got me 92 points in Game Week 1, which isn't bad at all. So far I'm content with my midfield and with my only attacker Vardy, but I've been let down by Everton duo Pickford and Dean and with my Aston Villa defender Target. I'm not going to rush into any transfers for Game Week 2 and I'll just give them another chance. Then I'll decide which 2 of them need to be replaced. I'm probably going to downgrade them to cheaper options, probably 4-mil defenders, in order to afford getting either a 5th midfielder like Benrahma, Soucek or Mount, or a 2nd forward like Antonio, Richarlison or Wilson, depending on their performance. Post your Game Week 2 questions and dilemmas in the comments and I will reply to every single one of them. Don't forget to visit us again on Friday for Game Week 2 predicted lineups. This is it for our Game Week 1 preview. Thank you for watching and peace.